This club deserves to be spoken about in a way that's real, to show off the decisions, the tactics, the team talks, the charity work and the way we motivate each other. We want to shine a light on Chester, on Sunday League and on football in the area. We want to show off what we do, so join us as we pull back the curtain on the mighty D and our 40th anniversary. Oh, for fuck's sake, how long have you been in there? Trying to fucking film me, yeah? Prick.
After a somewhat interesting opening scene, it's only right we intro this part properly. This is D Rangers, a men's Sunday League club based in Chester, England, a city which sits famously close to the border between England and Wales. This documentary aims to pull back the curtain on what it's really like to run a Sunday League team, following current D Rangers manager Ryan Williams as he looks to continue to grow the club to new heights both off and on the pitch, documenting their 40th season in their history, capturing the highs, the lows and everything else in between, along with some laughs and as many old friends along the way as possible. Despite being a club since 1973 by using different names throughout that time frame, they later become D Rangers in 1982. The Mighty D are known for being an underdog within the Chester Sunday League scene, hence a nickname, winning only one league title and falling short in a few finals along the way, but famously known for doing things their way. We joined the D off the back of a successful season, winning the Sunday League Challenge Cup, but more importantly raising funds for charities close to their hearts. Upon reflection, it could have been so much more, narrowly missing out on famously winning the treble. This season starts June 23rd, 2022, as we caught up with Ryan after his first AGM meeting ahead of the new season.
Right, meeting's over and been awarded lovely new football for the support that we've done as part of the CDFA this season, or this past season. Going forward, both the Vets and the Sunday team will be entering the Challenge Cups for the Veterans Division and the Sunday Division, and the season is now officially over. So we're looking forward to 22-23. Let's see what we've got going.
Throughout the Mighty D's long history as a club, they've had many home grounds over the years. Their first ever home ground being the Rue D back in 1982, which is now more known for being Chester Racecourse aside from its football history. Since then, the D have had countless home grounds and have struggled to make any place feel like home completely, having spent the last 5 seasons at Limewood Playing Fields at New Scene in Hull. With the ground featuring in the odd advert and Memory Walk too, they have many memories there. But with the new season approaching, there's a new opportunity, an opportunity to move back to an old home they find more spiritual.
So the thing I think I'm most excited about for 22-23 is bringing the club together again. So the Vets and the Sunday team have never been at the same pitch. So we're now officially leaving Limewood. We've been at Limewood for 5 years, and we're going back to Hull Park. For the 3rd time. It'll be our registered pitch, and I can't wait really. They've just done a big refurb, the pitches have all been relaid, all the drainage has been sorted, but more importantly than that, the changing rooms have been built, some brand new changing rooms and extensions to the car park. So far, from what I've seen, the council have done a fantastic job. So we're looking forward to getting in really, and hopefully it's going to help us to run the club a little bit easier. We'll have one home, we'll have a little bit of storage there for nets and corner flags and other stuff like that. But we're working hard with the council and Upton JFC as well, to be fair, to share the pitches, to look after the pitches and to make the facility as good as it can be. We were asked about it because it is sort of our spiritual home. We take it quite seriously in terms of looking after the facilities. You probably hear quite often if you come to D Rangers games, at the end of the game I'll say for the lads, make sure there's no litter, make sure there's no electrical tape, water bottles left. Not just because you can get fined for it, which is rubbish, but it's the right thing to do. You know, D Rangers is part of the community. It's a group of lads from local playing football, playing something that they love and getting involved with local communities. That's why we do what we do for charity, and that's why we try and do the right things year round. And being part of Hull is part of the fabric of this club now. So we're coming back. Like I say, for the third time we're made up. It's a better facility for us, certainly since they've closed the changing rooms at Limewood. It's gonna be one of Chester's better facilities now in terms of council pitches at the very least, but I think looking at some of the private pitches that we've played on as well in terms of the grass and the field, it's going to be just as good if not better than them, because it's really been looked after and it's not been played on for a few years really as well, so it's going to be in a lot better state. In the 80s, in 1982, when the club changed its name from the New Inn to D Rangers, we were playing at the racecourse. But 1989 was the first time that they moved to Hull Park, and the club has sort of built from there. And I'm really proud of what we've achieved and what we're able to do as a club. And hopefully Hull Park's going to be part of that. Limewood was great. The people at Live, the charity that operate at New Scene, were brilliant. Deborah and the girls were fantastic. But it's just time for us to move on and to bring the club together, and for me to see both teams playing together. Hopefully in the future there's an expansion of the club as well, maybe it be kids or a women's team, if they can play here too and it be our home, you know, a proper home for a club that we can build and be really proud of. I'll be absolutely made up. But as you'll see over the course of the season, the facility's great, and that central point is something that we're going to be really proud of. So here we are, 3 minutes trip up the road, and this is 22-23.
With some work left to do ahead of the new season, the grand unveiling of Hull Park will have to wait for now. This gives Ryan a chance to make himself at home on the newly laid pitch as we wait for our special guest's arrival.
Oh my word, why can't I do a rainbow flick anymore?
As Ryan works on his rainbow flick, drone guy and special guest to the episode, Craig, finally arrives to capture Hull Park from the skies, boldly going where one man and his tripod have never gone before.
Just sitting down now.
With the new season fast approaching, we met back up with Ryan later in the month to get his thoughts and expectations ahead of the new season for the Mighty D. This time with no grass cutters in sight.
So the pre-season's over. We're on the verge of 2022-23. Different look to the season. It's D Rangers' 40th season, my personal 11th season, 10th as manager. So it's a big season for all of us really. 40 years as D Rangers. Since 1982. We're back home at Hull Park for the third time in the club's history. We're going to move back to Coronation Fields in Hull. It's looking fantastic here this morning, and all the pitches are marked out and the grass is cut. The new change rooms look amazing, and it's exciting. It's exciting times after obviously winning the cup last year, after breaking records for raising funds for Clatterbridge and doing amazing things at Legends Day. Both the Sunday boys and the veterans are going to be back here for the first time, and we're hopefully going to have a really good season. The league season, as I said, is going to be a little bit different. For the first time in Chester Sunday League history, we're going to have one big division in a similar fashion to the old Scottish format, where everybody's going to play each other once, and at the halfway point the division will split in half, and then your remaining games will be against your division, so your half of the division that you were more comparatively matched against. Expectation wise, I have no idea. We've obviously had a great season last season, beat some teams from Section A, beat some really good sides, played some really good sides as well. But expectation wise, could be anything. Could be aiming for a really good finish. Finishing lower half could be more realistic, but then, you know, nobody wants to go for that. We obviously want to do as many wins as we can in the first half of the season. It will lead to a very difficult second half of the season, but you know, that's what we're here for, is to try and win as many games as we can and just enjoy it as much as we can along the way. We kick off the season against the Gunners, a brilliant side who we've only played once, but they beat us in the cup last year, and short of us having a few players missing, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, because they're a really good side, and it's a tough fixture to start the season off with, especially if the sun's going to be out like it is like this, and playing a real good side on a nice looking new pitch in the heat. A lot of expectation on us as an old club, and to try and bring it and play football the right way, but hopefully we can do it and we can get off to a winning start. The last time we brought the team back to Hull Park, when I first took over, we went unbeaten for 15 games here, and Gunners could very easily put a stop to that quite early doors here. So we're after everybody getting up early, getting there early, working hard, battling for every ball, and just showing that sort of level of commitment and intensity that they strive for and that we aim for, and we're going to try and play the game the right way, as I said, and just enjoy it week in and week out, because I don't think the club's ever been in a healthier position. So here we go for season number 40. Let's see what it brings.
After learning more about Ryan's expectations, we then took a walk around Hull Park and learnt more about how he became the manager in the first place.
So I took over D Rangers in 2012 as manager. I'd signed for them in the season before, and I was top goal scorer by the end of the year. It was a complete accident. I'd come down to watch my brother. Just because I was living around the corner, I'd come down to watch my brother, and the manager at the time, Morty, said, "Oh, have you got your boots?" Morty was somebody that I knew through work already, and then we'd had a chat about football. He sort of knew who I was, and we got together on that morning. He was convincing me to get me boots. I don't even know if I've got any boots, mate. I haven't played for years. I hadn't played since I was a kid, since I left Brynny Villa, and then it was like, well, bring them next time, just come get involved. Come down. First week it was, how long have you got in you? 10 minutes if you're optimistic. And then he puts me on, 10, 15 minutes to go. Scored. Fantastic ball in from our Jord over at county offices. I get the ball, loosely speaking, on the edge of the halfway line, switches it out to him, and took a big deep breath and ran for the box. And as I've got into the box, I've scored a header, which I wasn't keen on getting many of them over the years, but scored a great header. Well, I thought it was a great header, and we won the game. That was the winning goal. And following week the same happened again, and the following week the same happened again, and it got to a point where he was putting me on and saying, "You're gonna have to start, you know, because you score every week." We finished the season top goal scorer. We had a pretty solid season. I think we finished second in the league. We certainly got promoted, and it was good. It was a good year. And then following year, Morty had said to me, he's struggling to make it, struggling to commit, but sort of in that period that I'd been playing for the club, I'd been taking on like the kit, taking the kit home, and washing it and sorting that out at the laundrette, and then I'd be collecting the subs for Steve-O and helping that sort of thing, bringing the water bottles and filling them up. We had a lot of students in the teams, for people that maybe weren't able to commit to that, and I had my own car and I had my own house, and I said, yeah, I'll do it, no big deal. Laundrette at the end of the road, so it's no big deal. And he just asked me, he said, you know, you took on a load of responsibility in the short time you've been here. I'm really struggling to manage this. I want to be closer to my son in Sheffield, not Sheffield, Shrewsbury. And he went up there and he struggled to get back, and I said, right, fair enough. And he gave me everyone's phone number, and it was like the new season's coming. I'm messaging players and saying, you know, we need commitment, we need who's going to play, you need this, that and the other. And you slowly realise a lot of them were doing maybe one last season just for Morty. You know, some really good players, John Wainwright, Dan Delgado, these sorts of players who were good West Cheshire players were saying to me, I can't do it, I've played for Morty because he's my mate, I've played for one last season, I can't do it anymore. So the first thing I had to do was get a squad, and then we did get a squad together, and through the likes of Pez, who had been playing, through Jord, who was obviously my brother, but he'd been playing for 18 months already. Andy Harrison came in, but came with him a load of young lads, and yeah, we brought in some good players, and and we brought the team back here for the first time since the old boys had left it. We came to Hull Park here, and the changing rooms were obviously over there, and we moved in. We were dead happy. We played one friendly. It was brilliant. It was a lot cheaper than where we were. We were on this pitch running across here from goal to goal, which you can see has now been done out for kids football. And we played our first few games, and then the council said the changing rooms are derelict. Some issue with travellers ripping out the copper wiring or something to that effect. So then we never actually got to use them, because the first few games it was beautiful like this, and then we never got in them. So no changing rooms for the season. Then Morty sends me over the details for the money. There's no money in the club account, and the club owed Morty a couple of £100. The club owed Steve-O a couple of £100, and the club didn't have a decent kit, or the kit that it did have was missing shirts. There were socks with holes in, and we thought, what are we going to do here? We haven't really got an option here. We're struggling, and I've just took over to manage, lost half the squad, luckily replaced the players, but those new players, they shouldn't have to cop for £400 or £500 worth of a kit that they haven't lost. So difficult situation trying to find a sponsor, but it came together eventually. We did a deal. I did some work for Morty's company as a bartender, and I went and did some gigs for him, and he paid me in cider, which I then sold to local pubs at cheaper than the rate. I don't know if I should admit that on camera, but that's what happened. And then we used that money to buy kit, and then we paid Steve-O off, we paid Morty off. We still had nothing, but we had a new kit, and we didn't owe anyone anything. And that's the first time for years that the club were in a financially stable situation. Subs were raised and had to pay for fees like the signing on fee, the reg fees, the league fees. And we got there in the end. It was tough, but we got there. Played that season, and we struggled a little bit. The following season we had a load of great players came in: Tom Walsh, Joe Rigby, Jordan Hampshire, GFC still played. So we did really well to keep a core group of lads together. We went up in my first season. We went up a second season was tough, got beat a lot, lost a lot of players, came back down. Then it was my first sort of full season in charge, where everything was mine, the bank account was mine, everything, I was in charge of everything, and we got promoted again. We should have won the league really, but we fluffed it towards the end. We were flying, absolutely flying for a long time. We just fluffed it towards the end. I think Custom House might have won it at the old rivals, but whoever it was, they pipped us at the post, because we were top of the league all season, Section B, and then fluffed our lines at the end and just let them in, and it was a shame, because we got promoted anyway, and you think, well, at least we could have took the trophy. If we'd have took the trophy, we'd have done better. But every year since has been a bit of a fight for that. It's that trying to gain sponsorship, trying to get people to support amateur football, Sunday league football, men's football. All those things are difficult individually, but a men's individual Sunday league team that plays in Chester, that at the time barely had a website or a social media presence, because it wasn't really as big of a thing then, was tough. Businesses weren't getting anything out of it. It had to be the kindness of their heart. We had a lot of young lads playing, so none of them could donate their own work like maybe other clubs do, and that was it. It was just like, right, we're just pushing water uphill from the beginning, but we survived and we did well. Got to the cup final, lost to Vickers Cross. Again, another game, it was a bit of a shame, because Joe Rigby went to hospital the night before for his appendix burst, and he was such a good player for us, and Angelo stepped in, did a decent job, but it was tough, really tough against a real solid side, full of veterans, good players, and they, to be fair, they battered us in the end. But it was some first season for me to really push. First season when I was properly in control and push it, and unfortunately, it took us another 8 years to get to another cup final. But it was the same competition, and 8 years later, last year, the end of last season, we won it. So I can't say how much hard work goes into that, but you know, myself and Jordan, Pez, Curly to a slightly lesser extent with the travelling that he did. But the lads that have been around for 10 years or so, it means a lot. So we're just made up, and we're made up to be coming back home to Hull Park, made up to be having a good season ahead of us, made up to see teams surviving and playing. Hopefully 22-23 will be a real good season for us, whether it's in terms of trophies or enjoying it so much more than we ever have, or simply just coming out and playing football and bringing 15 lads to the park every week and having a laugh, because ultimately that's why we're here. And I'll keep banging that drum until someone stops me.
Right, that looks like a kid's footprint. Should have got back up. Look at the shape of it. It looks like a kid's footprint.
It does, yeah.
But look at it, it's like all here as well. That's bad, isn't it?
You walked in after your night out, haven't you?
Yeah, went out in his kit, didn't he?
We never did find out the origins of Jason's bruise, or if indeed Drew did go out in his kit, but a new problem arises quickly on the surface. Hull, we have a problem.
It's like, you fall in that, you'll go missing. And I'm on YouTube.
With neither the heat or the ref noticing the camera being the issue, it turns out the hole in the pitch is the problem, which leaves the lads to discuss their options.
I don't even know what to do. I've never seen a failed pitch inspection before.
He doesn't want to fucking play it, that's why.
I mean, I'm on his side. I'm not
You need a shit, don't you? You're just going to shit in that goal and spread it out.
That's part of the reason, to be honest with you. Cement.
Even if I had a spade, which obviously I haven't. I just told you Rachel's got some kiddie ones in the boot when she's been to the beach.
Quite decent. It's got wooden handles.
There you go.
I'm one of them gardeners. Surely they'll pass on.
Lime ones is alright. I know, yeah.
With the spades from the beach not being an option, and no gardeners among the other team, the Guns come up with another suggestion, much to the displeasure of the lads, especially Jason.
Damn, take one by Todd. What do you want me to do? Well, yeah, for as long as 20 minutes.
You fucking do. You fucking work on your passion.
Shovels in our fucking cars, mate. You know, someone goes B&Q, get a shovel. Gotcha. Oh, I wonder which one's getting fucking snapped first.
You've only got one leg, Joe.
After some more waiting and debating, the Gunners get green fingers and finally fill the hole themselves. Therefore, the game is finally going to go ahead.
Couple of early surprises in the season. Okay, first game we've had to move pitches straight away. There's a hole in there, we've filled that one in, so we're able to play the game. These are dead keen for this. You can see that they filled the hole before half of our squad even bothered to go after ours.
I didn't even know what he was on about. I thought he was still on about the other pitch.
Yeah.
There's a hole on the pitch.
These are a good side.
This one as well.
Hey, these are a good side, we know that already. We know how they played against us last season. We had quite a few players missing, but they still moved the ball around really, really well. They've come early doors, they're dead keen. The majority of their squad was here warming up before we even bothered getting dressed. So
Because they've just got out of the club.
maybe. We need to make sure.
Here's our super sub. Get a kit on, Bog!
We needed a hole filling. Get your kit on, Bog.
We need to make sure we're keeping it simple, right? This heat isn't going to help anyone, so let's move the ball around, let the ball do the work for us. We're going to have to sit deep today. We know they're going to try and hit their balls in, they're going to play around loads. If they're playing around in front of us, that's fine. Don't go running around, sprinting, trying to pressure them in this weather. Okay, let them have the ball in their half.
Yeah,
let them approach let them approach our half before we have to go really hard and compete for it. Okay? We're starting, obviously we're short on subs, so we're going to start with the lads who've got an injury worry and then bring them off when they're room. Sensible stuff. So, Dowdy in goal, back four of Jord, Gaz, Jason and Dan, who's still putting net up. Midfield three of me, Curly and Pez, and front three of Drew and Jay, either side of Adam, okay? Need loads of effort, loads of talking. There is water breaks on 22. Okay, so just keep putting it in for each other for the first game of the season.
22, I thought we were only playing 35 each way.
No. Unless they voted for it. Right, let's put it in, let's go and earn some points, boys. Get the season off to start.
With the whole of Hull Park filled and the team talks out the way, we can finally get back to the football. Thankfully for Jason's blood pressure. After an energy sapping for 22 minutes, the score is still 0-0, with the Gunners having most of the possession and creating the better chances, but with the D arguably unlucky on the break.
No, let them play. They won't play it well.
They don't want to bring back later.
You just got to keep working, boys. It's very tough.
They're going man on man like that because their wing backs are pushing so far forward.
Yeah.
Class, you know. Rolly's on! Andy's sitting for me. Ish. Do we want to wake up now? Andy, come here! Andy!
Switching off defensively after the water break leaves the D 2-0 down against a good football inside with a mountain to climb second half.
Right, boys, it's been a long day. We know it's tough out there, we know it is, but the 2 goals have come from us switching off. Okay? We need to make sure when we do get a chance to get the ball into feet to someone, it's got to sit there. It can't just be bouncing and bobbling off you. What's happening every time we take a bad touch is they're straight back on us. Every time it's relentless. Playing in front of the back four, playing in the back four, we get hammered constantly. We need to get confident in our touch. Get the ball under control and either pump it up the wings, get it into Adam's feet, or get it into another midfielder's feet and play a little bit. Well, yeah. But that's the problem, there's no confidence, we're all just shitting ourselves as soon as we get the balls out and we get rushed by 3-4 men.
They've got the extra man there, you've got to think. They've got that, either the long hair lad sitting deeper, so one of the front three is going to have to just drop 5, just sit on him. But you haven't even got to technically mark him, just be there and cut that pass off.
Don't give him the free space.
As soon
as we've got a throw here, we're walking towards the ball, let's walk towards a man, fuck the ball off, look around, if you haven't got a man, get one.
Picking them up
Let
too
time
slow.
for the pressure, get that pressure on them.
Yeah, we're picking them up too slow, boys. We pick the man early, and then we're all swapping and changing. There's no reason for it. I marked Steve Owens for 25 minutes. The next thing after the water break, we're all swapping, moving around. coming in. It's hard work.
That's where we're going wrong.
Hey, you didn't score in the first 20
Boys,
minutes.
boys, thing is, they like to
Tesla,
cut
they
in.
want us
Yeah,
to
you
do
just
nil.
need to talk. Yeah, you got a man between you, talk.
After a much needed team talk at half time, can the D grab an early goal and mount a comeback in this game?
Straight back in all week, right? Go on, runners, let's go! Go back, Kelly, keep back! Come on! Catch him! Don't make him play!
Go on, Nod.
George ball. On a sit!
Nearly the perfect start to the half for the D as Drew just drags his effort wide of the post. Another 2 golden chances wasted by the D, this time Curly running through on goal and taking Jason's advice a little too literally by firing his efforts straight at the ironically named Gunners keeper Wiggle. Can they keep the pressure on without leaving themselves open for a potential Gunners sucker punch? The Gunners grabbing their 3rd goal of the game, damaging any D momentum that was made. It could well be that the floodgates now might open.
Use him! Tommy! Use Dougie! Yes, Charlie! Come on, boys, big last ball, boys, you're going left. Come on, big straight. Yeah, go ahead there, boys! Enough. Right, go on, see it. Back in, left, not dead. Yes, man, one more. Sam, one more. Sam! What a ball, Sam!
With some good saves from Dowdy and the trees, it could well be more than 3 for the Gunners. To think, we've had enough horticulture-related issues this episode already. It was only a matter of time before the Gunners gave the trees a break, putting their latest effort past Dowdy, making it 4-0. It hasn't been the return to Hull Park anyone expected so far. All we need now is somebody to notice the camera again.
Hi, Mum.
Easy roll now, easy man. Start doing it. One more.
Even with a few minutes to go late in the game, it doesn't look like the Gunners are going to let up anytime soon, grabbing a 5th. With the game finishing 5-0 to the Gunners, all that's left now is to pack the things away and go down the pub to drown their sorrows and go again next week.
To show off. Oh fuck, I've lost it, it's gone off.
It's alright, we'll keep recording.
Let's see on it.